Hello, Melissa. Welcome to the Nutra Narratives podcast. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. I am excited and nervous.
But let me tell you, you have incredible patience because it took me forever to get on my computer, technical difficulties, and you just calmly waited for my computer issues to work itself out. So thank you.
I had cats to keep me distracted. It's okay.
There you go. I love your cats. I see what you post on Instagram and I feel like I know them.
Yes.
Well, it has been a while since I've spoken to you in person, so I'm really excited to catch up. But first of all, I would like you to share what got you interested in nutrition.
So, it's interesting. People ask me this question a lot. As a dietitian, for some reason, this comes up a lot with patients and whoever.
Yeah,
And I don't have like a great magical answer.
that's okay.
Like
No
what got me interested in nutrition? I
worries.
don't know. Like
Yeah.
I grew up in a relatively health conscious family. My family's Adventist, Seventh-day Adventist, so everyone was vegetarian in my family. All of our food was decently healthy. My mom is a nurse. My dad is a dietitian, actually. He went to the same program that I did at Loma Linda and graduated.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, many years before I was there, but
Mhm.
we still had some of the same uh, teachers, staff. So that was yeah. Anyway, but he went more of the management route than like
Yeah.
dietitian clinical type of route. Yeah. So just like health stuff has kind of always been in my life. And I grew up really loving sports and exercise. And so I just kind of always felt like I'm going to be in healthcare
Right.
in some capacity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I started my freshman year of college. Like I'm pre-med. I'm gonna be an emergency room doctor.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, well, it only lasted for a quarter.
Okay. All righty.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, my cat wants to tell a story too.
Oh, you know what? You can even bring, okay, did you say that was Milo or
Yeah,
Milo? You can even bring Milo to the camera. I'll be more than happy to have another guest on.
maybe he'll wander out. He's underneath the furniture right now.
Okay.
Anyway,
All
yeah.
good.
So when I started my freshman year, I'm pre-med, I'm going to be a doctor. And then after a quarter of biology and calculus, I was like,
Oh,
oh. So I kind of flailed around a little bit trying to figure out what I was going to do. So I kind of went to nursing for a very short time.
okay. Another quarter.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't do body fluids. So I somehow ended up landing on nutrition. I don't really remember like a major aha moment. It was just like, oh, I'm a
Mhm.
nutrition major now.
Okay. And that's
Um,
fantastic. I'll take it.
yeah,
It's a good
yeah.
one.
Well, and I had a lot of knowledge and experience, I guess I would say, about
Yeah.
food with a history of an eating disorder like I had. It's like I know a lot about food, so it kind of made sense. Like food is what I think about a lot, so food must be what I want to do as a career. So that was kind of part of it as well.
Right. And I know we're gonna, yeah, I really want you to share about that and dive into that for sure in our conversation. So, yeah, and that makes sense. So, your experience with that, and then, but then your dad also being a dietitian. So, I mean, you know, all of the factors around made for a nice direction.
Yeah, it wasn't like a lot of people have kind of this, I had this one experience and that shaped it. It was never like that for me.
Right.
Yeah, nutrition for me, it's more of like, it's not really what sparked my interest in it at first, is more of the important part is more of what keeps the spark alive for me.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. So I definitely want you to elaborate on that too.
Okay. Right
Yes.
now?
Well, if you think it's time to talk about that, or is there a sequence that we should talk
No.
about it? Okay, so I'll bring that back in. And okay, so yes, everybody has a different reason. Some, yeah, it's a personal thing or an aha moment, and some people it's not. It's just a nice, quiet realization that, oh,
Yeah.
okay, God has been guiding somehow very quietly. He has been, and he's like, here it is.
Yeah.
So, what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2012, which is 8.5 years ago at this point.
Okay, that has flown by
I
so
know.
fast.
Yeah. It's
Wow. Okay. So, Melissa, since you graduated, where has nutrition taken you as far as your work experience?
I am one of those people that I have had a lot of different or multiple experiences, I guess I would say.
I want to hear it all.
Okay.
Yes.
So I suppose technically my first sort of work experience sort of thing was during nutrition school at Loma Linda. I have since then I've been working as a jazzercise instructor. That's kind of my
Yes.
first my first thing within the like health field.
Love
Um,
it.
it was June of 2011 that I became certified, and it was actually the weekend before finals at school.
Oh, wow, really? That
Yeah,
close when you got
yeah.
certified?
So it was, I mean, it was the end of the first year finals, so it wasn't like the finals,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. But still,
yeah.
any final is like, finals week. It's always like you got to study for it and stressful.
Yeah, so instead of studying all weekend, I went to San Diego and did that.
Okay. Wow. Either I forgot about that or I didn't know that. See, this is why I like to have neutral narratives. I get to talk to all of you alumni and then get
Yeah.
those details.
Yeah. So that was sort of the first thing, but then and I've been doing that for what, 9.5 years now.
Amazing.
Um, but as like dietitian stuff, after I graduated, I took my RD exam decently quickly within 2 months.
Wow.
And I got a job pretty quickly because of actually one of my connections at Jazzercise. One of my students worked for the Loma Linda bariatric surgery program.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
No way.
Yeah, so she got me an interview and I was hired right away to be it wasn't necessarily a dietitian position, but
Okay.
I was one of the program coordinators for the bariatric surgery program of Loma Linda,
Yes.
and then kind of transitioned it or kind of meshed it in with being a dietitian too as I worked there. So
Wow, I love that.
that was my first position.
Okay.
Yes. And then it sort of transitioned. I thought I want to do more dietitian stuff. So I transitioned into just doing inpatient clinical nutrition stuff in the medical center, Loma Linda Medical Center.
Oh, you did. Whoa. How did I miss that? How did I totally miss that?
Yeah. I,
Okay.
I was there for maybe like in the hospital for a year or
Okay.
more.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, it was my first experience learning that I don't like being a clinical dietitian.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. It's all good.
So
All good. Hmm.
So I did that until I got married in May 2016. And then when
Okay.
I got married, we
Yes.
moved. Well, I moved. My husband, Bernie, he already lived out here in the
Oh,
Ventura area.
got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I moved out with him after we got married. So then I started a new job. I worked at a hospital in Santa Barbara at another clinical dietitian position, which I which I hated. This is not very encouraging for people looking into clinical dietetics, but
No, no, it's fine. Authenticity is good. But I get it. I do, you
yeah.
know? So no, it's totally fine. Everybody's got to be honest. And so you know what? Okay, so after you did Loma Linda and you realized, okay, I don't like being a clinical dietitian, what made you brave enough to go into another clinical position? I would have been like, forget that. I'm leaving it
Yeah.
totally.
I think it was just like I wanted a job, and
Okay,
clinical dietitian jobs have been the easiest for me to get into.
got it. Mhm.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I was like, how bad could it be? Like, it'll be fine. I lasted for 5 months.
But listen, you didn't give up, on
Yeah.
clinical, you gave it a try again. So
Yeah.
got to give you credit for that.
Well, and that wasn't my last clinical nutrition job either. So there's still more. So
Bring it
after
on.
I
I want
quit
to hear
from
it.
that, yeah, after I quit from that one,
Uh,
I thought I will try going more. I really like food blogging. So it
yeah,
had been a hobby of mine for a while. So I was
right,
like, well, maybe I can try to make some money off of that through kind of blogging, Instagram, that sort of thing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And I made some money. I did.
Oh,
You know.
no, go ahead and say how well that took off. It's okay. Go ahead and say it.
I mean, a lot of people liked my recipes.
Mhm. Oh, no, not just a lot. I mean, okay, I was gonna say a gazillion, almost a gazillion.
Almost a gazillion. Yeah. Well, no, actually, so it was hard. It was hard work.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
just
lot of commitment.
Yeah, it's very different. And in the social media part being a big part of it too, as far as like sharing and advertising, that sort of thing, it's
Right,
very high pressure, it feels
right.
like.
Mhm.
But probably one of the neat accomplishments I had during that time, one of my photos,
Oh,
it made it onto the packaging for um, a company that did like coconut coconut butter, almond butter. It was on their packaging in Costco.
I love it. Congrats. That's big.
My mom up in Oregon, she was in Costco one day and she's like, "Hey, there's your picture on the stuff."
Oh, that's such a great feeling, though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great, but it was kind of like I know this isn't something I'm going to be doing long term. And also during that time, I started doing personal training at one of the local gyms.
Oh, got it. Nice.
Yeah, I've been certified as a personal trainer since I think it's 2013.
Okay.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so after you graduated from
Yes.
Loma Linda. Ah, I
Yeah.
see. Nice. Wow, you have all these certifications.
I have a nice little stockpile of them, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so actually in the summer of 2016, I think it was
Okay.
the summer of 2016, I got my CSSD certification, which is certified specialist in
Yeah.
sports dietetics.
Nice. I
One.
love it. Woo.
Did that, yeah. So I was working as a personal trainer then in 2017. That's where we are.
Yeah.
And actually, again, one of my clients. This is how I've gotten my jobs a lot. Is
I
one of my clients was like, "Oh, I work at the hospital, and I think there's a nutrition opening there if you want." So she got me in contact, and the director of of the nutrition department. She's like, well, I don't have an opening, but there's an opening in the community wellness office. So she passed me over there. And I contacted that manager, and it was like almost instantly she just hired me without even interviewing me.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
I just love that.
So that's where I have been now for the past 3 years.
Nice.
I've been there for 3 years. But during that time, I'm per diem there, part-time.
Okay.
So during like halfway through that, I actually started working the same hospital's facility. I started working inpatient. Yeah, I wanted to work more. I wanted more hours. And so they had an opening. I was like, I could do that. I can do that, and the other one. So I worked there for 13 months. And then I was like, okay, third time's a charm. I hate this. So,
wow. Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask you this, and it's okay because the listeners just need to know why. So, what was it by the third time that you're like, really clinical is really not my cup of tea?
yeah. So for me, every clinical dietitian office I've worked in has no windows.
Oh,
And it become just the physical environment is very soul crushing.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. They don't have windows. And I mean, I know it's like, it's only a small thing, but it matters a lot.
no, it's big. When I worked at county, my first job, no windows whatsoever, wherever. And then at Loma Linda, also no windows.
Yeah.
So, and then my first office at the university, I was like teasing them, like, could you put in some windows in here?
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause it's a big thing to me.
Yeah.
Then my
It
yeah.
is.
And then finally my second office has windows, even though the outside is not beautiful, but I have a window.
It's daylight.
It's daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, where the office, the community wellness office that I work in now for the hospital, the whole wall is a window.
Oh. Okay,
But
that's
it makes a difference. But just clinical nutrition, clinical dietetic stuff for me, doing a lot of it seems very repetitive to me. And
that's fair.
yeah, and I would get really bad headaches from having to look at the computer so much.
Got it.
So with all the charting,
Yes.
yeah. Also, I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac, and so being around people in a hospital all the time.
Oh, I know. I totally understand. So it's legitimate.
Yeah. So that answers that question, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
Some people love it. Everybody I seem to work with loved it. So
you know what? It's true, but I'm like you. Again, different strokes for different folks, but I'm so like you. I was at my first clinical job for 4 years, and then my second clinical job for 14 years. But yeah, I stayed there a little too long.
Wow.
A little too long. And so, I love teaching because it's always different every quarter. And my brain is the type that I need change every quarter at least.
It's funny. I don't do well with change.
Oh, okay.
But in that type of setting, it's like I lose my mind having to do the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah. And yeah, but some people love it. And I talked to a dietitian one time. I was at a conference and I said, "Oh, so how long have you been, there?" And she said 25 years. And I had to like bring my jaw back up because I'm like, I admire that, that is great, but I couldn't have lasted in that particular clinical job. So, but we're all made differently. So,
yes.
So where are you working now? You're still working the wellness.
Yes. So I work for Community Memorial Hospital here in Ventura. There's like two hospitals here in Ventura. So it's one of the major hospitals here. And I work in the community wellness office. Our department is called Health Aware.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. It's myself and a nurse practitioner, and we are it.
Wow, look at that. That
Yeah.
must be fun though. You could
I
run the show more.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. I'm learning that I work well independently, and when I'm kind of the only one doing my job, I do well with that. I teach a lot of classes. Right now, they're all online, of course, but teaching classes and connecting one-on-one with patients in like an outpatient prevention type of setting is just much more of my speed.
I
Yeah.
I feel that. I know
Mhm.
that. I know it. Yes, very good. So did that become full time?
Um, Technically, no.
Okay, okay.
I'm working on that.
Okay, good. I will pray for you that it becomes full time because,
Yeah.
yeah, having that full time, that combination sounds really amazing.
Yes, I mean, I've been there for 3 years now, which is quite a milestone for me. So, yeah,
Kudos
and
to
I like it. That's what's important is that I've been
There
there
you go.
for 3 years.
Yes.
Yes, but I actually enjoy what I do.
Yeah. Okay. I love hearing that. And for some people, it takes a while to find that position where they're, really enjoying it,
Yeah,
loving it. So
yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Oh, and I guess I also should mention during all that too, it was last year. I think it was 2019. In
Okay.
June of 2019, I got another certification because my manager encouraged me to. So I got another one. So at the time, it was called Certified Diabetes Educator,
Yes.
but now I think it's Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist. Um,
Oh,
so
okay.
I did that as well.
Wow, you have two of them on top of
Personal
the
training and jazzercise. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you have four.
Yes.
I'm not going to be surprised if in a year or so you'll tell me you have another one.
Oh, another one. It's just I collect those, I guess. Yeah.
That is so great. Well, you know what? You have always been someone who has a good head on her shoulders, someone who's smart, and someone who has always also been able to test very well too. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I thank you. um, the CSSD exam was very hard.
Really?
It was very hard. I almost didn't pass that one. Very hard.
Oh,
So
but you still did.
I
So
did.
look at
But for anyone out there who's listening who wants to take it,
that.
definitely study because that is a doozy.
Wow. Okay. Hopefully you don't have to take that one again, or is that one every 5 years?
I think it's every 5 years.
Okay. Okay.
So, yay.
But knowing you, you're gonna pass it just fine again. I clearly remember how well you did. So,
Oh, thank you.
yes, you're welcome. Oh, it's so neat to just talk with each one of you alumni and just to see the path that you've taken, whether it be like, okay, this job was really, and then now it's like, okay, this is good. Like, wow.
Yeah, we've all kind of had very different paths. Mine has had a lot of pit stops on the way to where I am now.
Yes, yes, but you're helping so many people and in what you do, even though we're doing everything online right now, those online classes that you are delivering, cooking classes, your jazzercise classes too, right? They're also online.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is tremendous. But
Yeah,
it gives you so much variety, which is so good.
it does. I teach different classes every week. I taught a cooking class this morning. So,
That is great. Oh, I love it. Okay, so Melissa, let's go back to which one should we talk about first? The eating disorder, the IBS.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Yes. Why don't we start with the eating disorder?
Okay.
And
That's
yeah.
actually what I had first in my notes anyways.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, just take us back to when you started noticing you had it and the
Okay.
journey of recovery.
So it's kind of a long story, so I will start at the beginning. Hopefully not
Okay.
make it too long.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
And
fine.
I have notes. To anyone wondering or watching, I have notes. So if I
I
keep
love
looking down, that's why.
that.
I want to make sure I don't miss anything because
Yeah.
there's just a lot. I feel like there's a lot. So,
And we want to hear it all.
okay.
Mhm.
And I know that many people that you've interviewed on these have actually had experience with eating disorders too, and probably many other people watching too. So,
Right.
here's
Yes. Okay. Please.
all right. So, for me, it started when I was 16. I this is not great. Don't tell this person I did this, but I blame the boy that broke up with me.
We can always blame it on a guy.
I know it all goes back to him. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the summer when I turned 16, I remember getting very depressed. That's how it really started for me, was depression. And
We've all been there.
yeah, probably even more so these days, honestly.
Correct.
Yeah. So for me, it started as depression when I was 16, and it got worse and worse as I approached my junior year in high school, throughout that summer. And I was eating less, and because I just wasn't hungry, I had no appetite. But I didn't really understand what depression was, or what that feeling was. So I was just eating a lot less. And so, of course, I started losing weight.
Did you think that was normal at that time? Like, not having as much appetite, did you think you were going through the motions of the breakup?
I don't really know. I didn't think it was like, I don't know. I guess I didn't think it was normal, but I really didn't have any, I didn't know what to call it. So I really wasn't sure what I was feeling. Now I know what I was feeling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when I started my junior year of high school, I was pretty depressed. And between then and I think it was Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, somewhere in there. So about 4 months, as I started losing weight from just not eating because I had no appetite, I started feeling like, oh, it feels nice to be smaller. I had thought that I was too heavy to begin with. And so it was nice to have this benefit of, oh, I'm getting smaller. So between those about 4 months, I lost about 24 pounds in my junior year. And the interesting thing is that no one said anything to me about
it. Family.
No one really said anything. So it wasn't actually until spring break of that year, of my junior year, that I'm nervous talking about. So it wasn't until spring break. I was actually supposed to go on a mission trip to Peru. And I was doing my, the physical, just the general health checkup to be able to go on the mission trip like a week before. And the doctor was a little bit concerned about me, said I was a little bit underweight. And so instead of going to Peru for spring break, I ended up being in the hospital, hospitalized for 6 days instead. And it was terrible.
Because of that visit to the doctor, that exam, so he put you in the hospital right away?
They sent me to like an eating disorder specialist, and she put me in the hospital. She actually wanted me to go like right that moment. I will admit you right now, but I wanted to go home and like get some of my clothes, and
Yeah.
it was just a lot. So my mom and she took me home and we got my things and then went. So I was in the hospital for 6 days. It was terrible.
Yeah. I can't even begin to imagine all of a
They,
sudden in your life, like you were
yeah.
in a regular place and then now you're in a hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like I wasn't allowed to get out of bed. You could sit or lie down on your bed. You weren't allowed to get up or do anything that exerted calories. So even like going to the bathroom, you had to call the nurse to have them like get into the wheelchair, wheel you 5 feet, and then get out. It was,
Oh.
yeah. And I I remember you would wear the like a heart monitor.
Mhm.
And I remember the first night I was there, they woke me up at like 2 a.m. or something. And my heart rate had gone too low. And so they woke me up and made me drink an entire bottle of Ensure.
Wow. I see. So
So,
at that point, a lot of your electrolytes were really low too, then at that time.
mhm,
Wow.
yeah. And it's not that I was like wildly underweight. It was just I had lost a lot of weight and then I wasn't eating very much still. So ever since then, I cannot drink Ensure or Boost or anything like that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, drinking chocolate Ensure at 2 a.m. is something that will ruin you for the rest of your life.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can understand that. I have a different situation. I remember I was a junior in the Loma Linda program. We had to feed elderly people, and so I had a patient, but just for one day or 1 hour, and I was feeding her carrots. And I can't do cooked carrots to this day because it was drooling, it was coming out of her mouth. And if they're julienned carrots, I could do it, but if they're round, I can't.
Interesting.
So it's kind of similar to yours, like, it gives a bad memory.
Yeah.
So certain food items or beverages.
Yeah. So Ensure is one of those for me, which as a clinical dietitian, they have like you taste stuff often that you
Yeah.
give your patients. And I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, you have to put your foot down and say nope.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
anyway, so after that, it was 6 days in the hospital. After that, I I had gained some weight and I was really fine for the rest of high school, pretty much. I remember feeling decently normal while I was in high school. I was weight recovered, what they call it, or weight restored,
I see.
is what they call it. But at some point, I started losing weight again. Um, it was much more gradual though. And so in the summer of between high school and college,
Mhm.
that summer, I started working at a summer camp. And I was so excited. My first time working at summer camp. And I only lasted for 2 weeks. Um, yeah, I think it might have been the first night that kids were there at the campfire program. I fainted in front of everybody.
Melissa,
I,
thank God you
I
didn't hit your head.
no, no, actually, someone caught me. Yeah,
Oh,
someone caught me.
wow.
But it just that environment, it just totally derailed how I was eating and taking care of myself. And so it was cold and I hadn't been eating very much. And so I fainted and then decided I should probably go home.
Mm.
So I did that. And then I started my freshman year of college, and that was very bad. It was a very bad year. Um, I went to Walla Walla. That's where I went to college.
Yes.
And I must have lost a decent amount of weight before I started my freshman year. Because I remember, or during maybe the first quarter, because I remember being rather underweight my first quarter.
Okay.
And I ended up going home. I did one quarter at Walla Walla, and then I ended up going home and finishing the rest of my freshman year at home.
I see.
And I nervous talking about this.
Yeah. Are you okay?
And
Are you okay with it?
yes, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I think during the freshman year is where a lot of my really like obsessive food behaviors kind of like really got ingrained. Where I became so I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. That I don't think I mentioned that.
Yeah. No.
That was what I was diagnosed with. So restricting my intake was pretty much what it was about. I wasn't over exercising. It was just the restriction part for me.
Okay.
So I remember like I would eat like the same food for breakfast every day and same food for lunch. My meals were always the same every day because I knew how many calories were in them. I could count the calories. I remember, I don't know when it was during this time, but it was during my freshman year at some point at home. I had a very specific breakfast that I would eat. It had to be below 150 calories for my breakfast. And so I remember not eating an entire, like the little cutie orange things.
Oh, yes. And they're
I
small
remember
already.
they're tiny. They're tiny. I remember not letting myself finish one of those because it would be too many calories total for my breakfast.
Wow. So you really knew the caloric content.
Yeah. And this was before I decided to be a dietitian major, I think. I think it was kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You were really in tune with that.
Yes. So I started my sophomore year in college and I went back to Walla Walla again to try on campus. I was living not in the dorm this time. I had an apartment with my sister.
Oh,
And
nice.
it was also very bad.
Oh,
I didn't really have any recovery. I was still very unwell. And so my sophomore year, I don't know if it was worse. Maybe I would say it was worse. I don't know. But I was very underweight. I'm 5'6". And
yeah,
I don't want this to be triggering for anybody, but I'm 5'6", and I remember at some point the lowest point for me was 101.3 pounds, which is a very, very small amount for a 5'6" person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, 5'6" is not short.
No.
But anybody taller than me is tall, and you are tall, you
Yeah.
know? So 101.
Yeah. So, and I remember feeling shocked. Like I knew I wasn't well, but I remember feeling shocked and guilty, but also very, very happy that I weighed so little.
I see.
I was so cold all the time. I carried around a chair cushion to classes because it was too painful to sit on wooden and plastic chairs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't have that much weight on. Yeah. I could only imagine.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the summer between my sophomore and junior year was the really like turning point though for me. I was living back at home that summer. I made it through a full year of college. So I was living back at home in the summer, and my mom was like, you need to go to an eating disorder treatment program. So 4 days after my birthday, so on July 7 of 2009, I guess it was 2009,
Yeah.
I started an intensive outpatient eating disorder program.
Wow.
And I was there until September 10. So I went every day to this program, and that was really like the important turning point for me.
Oh,
I ate a lot of food. It's,
okay.
I mean, it's shocking to realize how much food you need to eat in that eating disorder state. It takes a lot of food to gain weight.
Wow.
So a lot of eating, a lot of learning, a lot of the psychological part of it. Um, so two
So that
months,
program was helpful, very helpful.
yes, it was very helpful. Um,
Amazing.
I mean, it was the most helpful part within my recovery. And my mom drove me there and picked me up every day,
Smart.
even though I was what, 20, 21, 20,
Mhm.
20 years old.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was the most influential part for my recovery, I feel. Yeah. So,
Wow.
yes.
Yes.
So I
That.
did that. I graduated on September 10.
Hmm.
And a couple weeks later, shortly thereafter, it might have been just a week later, I drove down to Loma Linda to start nutrition and dietetic school.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. The timing of that was right after. So when you ended that program and recovered, wow.
It was a very quick transition. And so when I got to Loma Linda, I was living in the dorm. I lasted for about a day and a half of classes. Do you remember this?
The first day, I'm trying to
Well,
remember.
I only lasted for a day or a day and a half, and then I actually left and I went home. I didn't do the program. I went back to Walla Walla for another year. I just was not ready to. It was a totally different environment, different state. I didn't know anybody because I'm
Okay.
from Oregon.
Right, right.
Yeah, and being in an environment where you're talking about food and nutrition all the time, all day. That's what your
Yeah.
classes are about.
Right.
I was not ready for that.
Okay.
So
Got
I
it.
went back to Walla Walla for another year, and then I applied again, and then I started the following year
Okay.
at Loma Linda. Um, and I at that point I was weight restored, and I was doing fine. But it still was a little bit weird for me all throughout the nutrition program to be to try to be like normal within an environment where everything's about food. And
Everything.
yeah,
Everything was about
everything's about food.
food. Hmm.
So yeah, so after that outpatient eating disorder program, like that was the turning point for me. And since then there's not really been any other like magical moments or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
as time goes by, it's just better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it gets better and better. So
Yeah.
that time that you were there to get that treatment, you really were able to soak up what you learned and applied it, but time had to take place for it to just really become a part of you, for you to implement what you've learned.
Yeah. Yeah. The intensity that the program was so necessary, I felt. But with an eating disorder, you don't just magically get better after
Right.
2 months.
No. Yeah.
It's a lifetime, really. Like I personally, I feel like probably like I'm never normal, or you're never better, I guess. It's kind of it's part of who I am, and it's sort of an ongoing process to stay well and to kind of combat. There's that small part of the brain that is still that has the eating disorder part of it.
Got it.
And so it's always it's a daily I don't know if battle is what I would say, but it's a daily choice to not pay attention to that and to live in more of a normal
Got it.
sort of way.
And going through that program, though, gave you the tools to be able to pull in the tools so that during times that, okay, okay, I need to bring it back in to be back to a normal
Yeah.
mode, normal
Yeah.
routine. You
I
know
mean,
what to do.
there's certain terminologies that I remember learning in that program, and I still like they're still in my mind. Like I can't ever
Yeah.
forget those words today. Like there's just certain um, behaviors and words and things that I learned during that time that I use today to keep myself on track.
And that is so encouraging and inspiring because that means that those who may be listening, if they go through a program like what you did, they can also do well. I mean, do any of us get better from anything that we've ever? I mean, we improve, we do get better, but to fully recover from any type of traumatic experience, we've learned to adjust
Yeah.
and live well within what we have to live.
Yeah. I mean, I've had several, I guess, significant, I would say, experiences like that. And they're part of you. It's not like that happened back then.
Yeah, no, exactly. But you have been able to really grow and heal so much because I'm sure we wouldn't be having this conversation today.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
you have really, if you do look back, it's like, wow, you have really done your part and continue to do your part so you can share and talk about it.
And I probably wouldn't enjoy my job if I was still
That's true.
in that place. So, yeah.
But see, you're showing us that someone who's had the history can recover so that you can work as a dietitian doing this, doing what you love, still
Yeah.
within the realm of nutrition and food.
Yeah. And that, how do I say it? So I enjoy what I do with being a dietitian, and right now in my job, I enjoy it. But I know that there are other avenues of nutrition that I can't go down just for myself. So, like working in an eating disorder treatment program as the dietitian, that is not something that is safe for me.
Got it.
Um, yeah, I remember interviewing at a place like that once,
Mhm.
and after the interview, I was like, I cannot work there.
Okay.
It's not safe for me. So knowing that about myself, I
Right.
can enjoy I can enjoy my career as a dietitian in
Yes.
the environment that's healthy for me.
Okay. It's nice to really have that self-awareness of what works and what can be dangerous.
Yeah,
So it's something that we all need to be in tune with in order to be successful in our careers.
yeah,
And it's just so beautiful how you have healed from it, all the healing that you've done so far
mhm.
and continue to. And you're giving so much hope to those who are listening.
Well, I hope so. If it's even one person that feels that way, then that's good enough for me.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Can we touch
Yeah.
some on your irritable bowel syndrome journey? When did that happen? I don't remember that when you were a student.
No. No, so this actually started my husband and I, we got engaged in the winter of 2015. And during our engagement, we had a very short engagement, just about 6 months. And it was very stressful. That was at that point the most stressful I'd ever felt.
Wow.
And at that point, I started noticing I wasn't sleeping well, and I started getting some intolerances to certain foods that I'd never had an issue with before. Like peanut butter, for example, I stopped being able to eat peanut butter.
Mm,
So
yeah.
then when we got married, went on our honeymoon. I moved. So I'd lived in
Oh,
Loma
yeah.
Linda, Redlands for 6 years and had kind of a very established community, and he's from there. So we moved. So I had a male roommate husband for the first time.
Oh,
And
yes.
I started a job all within 3 weeks. And it was just a lot.
Right.
And I had a hard time with everything that we had left in Redlands. I didn't realize how difficult that would be. And so the stress of that, I think, started kind of doing stuff inside.
Yes, of
Um,
course. I could definitely see how those
yes,
changes.
stress has been, that's what I kind of see as the starting point for me for that. I was teaching jazzercise out here after we moved out here at this new location, and every more and more each class I taught, I would have really, really, sorry, TMI.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's
I,
okay.
I would get really, really bad diarrhea before I would teach a class. I guess for dietitians, we can talk about
Right.
bowel movements.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's all good. It's
it's
all
all
good.
fine.
No worries.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I would have really bad diarrhea, and so I was living on Imodium just to be able to teach these classes, which was something I had
Wow.
been doing 3 times a week for 5-6 years up to that point.
Yeah.
And then I would start getting anxious about feeling unwell, and then it would just kind of snowball into worse and worse. So I was diagnosed with IBS in January 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And basically, it was like, okay, let's test you for everything, which was all negative.
Mm.
And okay, you have IBS. Here is a prescription for stomach pain and a paper about low FODMAP. Good
Oh,
luck.
yeah. The paper. The paper. Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I suffered with that for like a year and a half or so. I had diarrhea all the time. My stomach hurt all the time. I just felt unwell, and that's my anxiety started getting worse and worse, which makes IBS worse and
Oh,
worse.
yeah. Sorry, did they check you for SIBO? Small intestinal bacterial
I
growth?
don't remember even.
Oh,
I remember doing a glucose
okay.
test.
Got it.
I did that one. Um, yeah, it was like have
Uh,
IBS. Good for you.
on top of, what you had recovered already from, and then now this is a whole new territory.
So it's interesting because a lot of it it's food related. Again, or it it has a big food component to it.
Oh, yes.
So I did a very strict low FODMAP diet, and it helped
Yes.
within the first like 2 days. I was like, oh, I feel better.
Yeah.
But then it started getting into a lot more of like, I'm afraid of all these foods now. I don't
Oh,
want to eat any of
wow.
these ones because of low FODMAP. Low FODMAP diet is not meant to be like a long-term thing.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it was hard to get out of that mindset of like, okay, all FODMAP foods are now gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it took away the pain, or at least helped alleviate the pain.
Well, it did at first. And then after a while, it just didn't really,
Help
it
anymore.
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't as helpful. So I found a new GI doctor and he tested me for everything. And he was like, you have IBS.
Oh, Melissa.
At one point in there, I did have norovirus. I was positive for
Oh.
norovirus, which didn't help either,
Oh.
since that's a GI thing too.
Mm.
Yeah. So it was just about 2 years ago that I found a therapist. I've been with therapists throughout my
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
So I found a new one about 2 years ago, and that was probably one of the most significant parts of helping me learn more about what was going on and understand it's such a psychological component to IBS for some people,
Yeah,
and for
correct.
me, very much. So starting to see a therapist, I was able to work on the psychological part with the anxiety and stress that is just kind of part of my personality.
Well, no, but and you know what they say that the brain is connected to our gut, our mind is
Yeah,
there's a bidirectional mode in there, so it makes sense.
absolutely. So that was such a big factor for me, and of course learning more about the food part of stuff, of what foods did work for me or didn't work,
Right.
that sort of thing. But the psychological part
Yeah.
was very, very important. And so I've been significantly better
Wow.
throughout the next two, these last 2 years.
Oh, praise
It's
God.
gotten better. Sometimes I'll get flare-ups every so often. Like last week, for example. And I just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. So it becomes very important. Self-care becomes very important for
Yes.
me to
Yes.
help my gut feel well.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Because our gut, they say, is the second brain.
Yes.
We got this and that, but
Yeah.
it's so nice that you were so willing to go back and get more tools. Therapists play such an important role in our lives. I've seen a therapist too in order to
Yeah.
finish my last degree because the world was falling apart. And even
Yeah.
though I always trust in God, I know God said, you know what? I have equipped these other people to help all of
Yeah.
you who need that extra help. And so
Yeah.
I'm an advocate
Yeah.
of getting that extra help from
Yeah.
therapists.
I think that it is such an important tool, a therapist, and I encourage anybody
Yes.
that, yeah, I mean, anything. It's not like you have to have a problem to,
Oh, exactly. No, no,
so,
it's true. They can just help shed light on any situation in life, and it's not biased in any way, shape, or form. And you will say, "Oh, okay, I'll take that and apply it to any situation,
yeah,
in life." So,
yeah.
oh, Melissa, you have been through so much even since when I saw you last as a student, but I see you coming out of this even stronger than ever.
Well, and during all this, I've had knee surgery twice.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I didn't know about the first one, but I remember when you were posting about the second one.
Yeah. Yeah. So just a lot of stuff health-wise.
Wow. Was it because you were an avid sports person doing a lot of sports in your early days?
No, I had a scooter, like a Vespa scooter, and my husband and I were riding it, and I was driving, and we were driving down the road here in Ventura, and a pedestrian crossed suddenly, and so everyone stopped, and so I hit the brakes and turned rather than hitting the car in front of us. We turned and fell, and I
Oh,
tore the MCL, the ligament, the one on the inside of the knee. I tore that out of my tibia.
oh, ouch.
So I had surgery to reattach that to my tibia.
I see.
Yeah. And then another surgery to clean stuff up this year, actually.
Yeah, okay. Well, we have to ask, was your husband okay?
He sprained his foot and he couldn't really walk on it for like a month, and that was
Okay.
it.
That was Oh,
That was
okay.
all.
All right. I mean, we're grateful he didn't experience anything more,
Yeah.
but thankful that you're okay now.
Yes. And we sold the scooter.
Okay. Thank God. I'm going to say that. Thank God. All right. Okay. I'm glad you're well and you have really gone through a lot. And talking to you today, you still have a beautiful smile on your face.
Oh,
You're still able to bring joy to the conversation and encourage. I just know that many who will listen will be very encouraged and
I hope so.
inspired.
I
Yes,
hope
no,
so.
I believe so. So, is it okay if I ask you what are your three favorite nutrition practices?
Sure. I wrote them in my notes. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So my first one is I follow a vegan diet.
Ah, yes.
That is one of my most important nutrition practices. I've done it for the majority of the past 5 or 6 years, actually.
Oh,
Um,
okay. So after you left Loma Linda,
yeah, I grew up vegetarian. So I was vegetarian when I was at Loma Linda.
got it.
And as many of my family members did as well, I became lactose intolerant as an adult.
Thank
So yeah,
you.
that eliminated all of that.
Got it.
And eventually I just transitioned to being vegan. When I was doing low FODMAP, I was eating eggs because
Okay, yeah.
there was nothing else to eat.
Here. Correct. Correct.
Yeah. As a vegetarian, there's nothing else to eat. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, so vegan diet is one of my primary nutrition practices.
Okay, perfect.
Yes. A second one is actually that I don't eat breakfast.
Huh. Yeah.
Um, this goes along with my IBS, actually.
Oh,
So,
got it.
I found on my own that now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is probably not even right, but
No, no.
the gut tends to be the most active when you first wake up. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what the GI doctor said.
You
So,
know what? That only makes sense totally to me because we have fasted while we're sleeping, and a
yeah.
lot of things have already been emptying out.
And then
And
you wake
yeah,
up and it
yeah,
all starts going.
right,
So,
exactly. So,
yeah. So along with therapy, not eating breakfast has actually been one of the most influential parts of keeping myself well. I
right.
don't eat breakfast. If I do, I'm almost guaranteed to get IBS symptoms.
Mhm.
When I don't eat breakfast, I feel much, much better. Um,
Yeah, and only you know that.
yeah,
So that's good that you are in tune to that with what works for you.
yeah. And it's not necessarily intermittent fasting. It's just
No.
I don't eat breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You're not label it as an intermittent fasting, but you're going with what your body does well with. So, yeah.
Yes. So, and then my third one is that I pray before each meal, and you know,
I love
growing up
it.
Adventist, that was just what we did.
Yeah.
But in recent years, it's felt like something that's a lot more important for me to continue during all these different seasons of my life that
Okay.
we've talked about. Food has been associated with a lot of anxiety and stress and these issues. And so, whether it's eating by myself or eating with my husband here at home or out in public, I find it very valuable for me to kind of take that just the moment to pause and kind of recenter and refocus my mind and my intentions
Right.
and have a prayer before a meal.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm so glad you said that. We also talked about that in class last week, that prayer for most of us in a Christian home, we're so used to it that it could just become routine. But why don't we really pause to really think about our prayers and be
Yeah.
just grateful for what's before us? So, oh, I love that you do that also. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, what is your favorite Bible verse?
I was gonna say it ties kind of right on into that.
Yes.
One Bible verse that's been very kind of like the go-to one for me when I feel well, I live in a world of anxiety and worry. So for me,
All of us.
yes, this is kind of my go-to. It's Matthew 11:28-30. Is it okay if I read it?
Oh, please, I want you to.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Matthew 11:28-30 is, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
Mm.
Take my," now, see, I thought I'm going to cry when I do this.
No, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It is. It really is. That's
Yeah.
fine.
So, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light."
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
mean,
it's every time this
yeah.
happens, it's a very powerful passage for me. It's very appropriate for a lot of things that I've gone through in my life.
Yes, indeed. And God has taken care of your burdens, and you have laid it there, and he has made you become victorious with each detour in your life. And thank you, because that's a verse that we all need today,
Yeah.
especially with everything
Yes.
that's going on around us.
Yeah.
Because this world is getting worse, but when we remember that we can lay our anxieties, our fears, our unknowns at the feet of Jesus, then we can keep going on.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Melissa, you have encouraged my heart, and I have been just, oh, so touched. And I admire that you never gave up. You kept on going, and you are still embracing life. And that is what we need to learn here, is that as bad as it can appear to all of us in whatever version of life we have when it gets so bad, and you've gone through several versions of it, not just one, you've gone through several, but you've always come out victorious, and you didn't give up. Thank you for inspiring us in that, to never give up, but to keep moving forward with Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored that you've taken the time to share your narrative, your story with those who are listening. Thank you. May God bless you in all that you do.
Well, thank you. And to you too, and to everybody watching or listening. I hope at least one person can find some connection to what I've talked about and be encouraged.
Yes, thank you. Oh, and one more thing. They can find you on Instagram, right?
Yes, I am on Instagram at So Much Yum Blog.
Yeah.
So Much Yum Blog. Also my website.
Yes, your website. Please talk about your website.
It's my food blog website. It's not really a dietitian website, but
Yeah,
my
no.
food blog website is so much yum blog.com.
Okay.
I think it's so much, yes, it's so much yum blog.com.
.com. Okay, I'll put that in the show notes too, because I have been there and I have seen the recipes, and I'm like, wow, Melissa, this is why so many people have been following you, because of the great recipes you have brought to the table.
There are some very good recipes on there. I will toot my own horn. There's some good ones.
Do it. Do it. I'm going to have to try some too. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.